Well, Farm Talk, this is the first morning all summer that it feels just a little bit like fall. It's about 60 degrees. I actually had to run the heat a little bit on the way over here to the farm. Probably be shelling corn in another month, and I got a bunch to do between now and then. I gotta finish the sideboards on that truck, my old grain hauler there. I gotta get the combine ready. I need to finish framing up my shed for my deer corn sacking area. And I got a lot of bush hogging to do everywhere. So, just busy, almost harvest time stuff. Alright, I hope I can do this story justice in 3 minutes. I'm gonna try. I've called my buddies just to make sure I get this story as accurate as possible. We're staying at a Santee Cooper fish camp. I'm not going to disclose which one. Before my wedding, about a month before I get married at my bachelor party, there's about 8 of us in our group. We go out and fish, have a really nice day, come back in. This camp is set up just like a typical Santee Cooper fish camp. You got a bait house, you got some cabins that everybody rents and stays in. You've got a boat dock, you've got gas pumps right beside the boat dock, and then you've got a little store with a restaurant in it. They're all pretty much the same. So we go out, fish all day, come back, get cleaned up, and we're just kind of hanging out. We're out there beside the boat dock watching people load boats, holding court. There's about 4 or 5 of us in our group, and we're just kind of, BSing with one another, watching the guys at the fish cleaning place clean the fish that come in, whatever. So it's getting kind of dark, so me and another buddy of mine go into the store to get something, and we leave about 4 or 5 people out between the gas pumps and the boat ramp, excuse me. So me and my other buddy are in the store, and behind this lady I'm checking out at the counter, and behind this lady that I'm checking out with, there's a big glass window, and I'm just standing there checking out, and something catches my eye. And you ever been like not focused, but you see something move in the background and you're like, what was that? So I focus, and out there where my buddies are at, it looks like somebody has pulled the pin on a live grenade and dropped it at their feet, because they're all running different directions, running over each other to get out of there. So I'm like, that's kind of weird. So I check out, get my drink or whatever, walk outside and go to the little cabin, and they're sitting on the picnic table, about 4 of them. And they look like they've seen a ghost. I mean, they're not laughing, they're not picking, they're white-faced. Looks like ghosts. I was like, what happened, guys? Y'all all right? And my buddy, he said, well, the lady from the camp had to get the reading off the gas pump. I guess every night before they close, they get the reading off the gas pump to see how much gas they sold for the day. And these are old gas pumps, been leaking gas, kind of grungy around them. So he said, I was leaned up against the gas pump talking, and she said, excuse me, honey. And she leans down, and it's almost dark, and drags off her cigarette so bright, he said it looked like a lantern. He said, and all I could think about was that cigarette lighting that gas pump off, and all 4 of us getting blowed to smithereens. So that's why we took off running. This woman was using her cigarette as a lantern to read the numbers. I said, well, what'd you do? He said, I run till I fell down and run some more. So I almost lost 4 groomsmen in a horrific explosion at Santee Cooper. Now, y'all all know that ain't but one outfit that's gonna go on my hide. Key Imperials. The aristocrat overalls. I was married in them, I'll be buried in them. Wear them 365 days a year. Unless there's a casket or a wedding cake involved, that's what I'm gonna be in. Y'all have a good one. There's always gotta be one. It's out here bush hogging some field edges. Found one Palmer plant. So I decided to wade out here and get him in these 4-foot tall beams. They look really good. They're a little taller than what I really want them, but it happens. We had a lot of rain in July, so they got big. TikTok, I'm out here in a cornfield today, and I'm going to show you how I do a corn yield estimation. There's a lot of different ways to do it, a lot of different formulas. This is the way I do it, so I'm going to show you. This corn is NK 1452. It was planted the last week of April. It's probably some of our better corn this year. We're going to estimate it, see what we come up with, see how close that is come harvest time. So the first thing we're going to do is measure out 17.5 feet a row. That's 1/1000th of an acre on 30-inch rows. So I got my tape measure pulled out, and I'm going to go down these 2 rows, and I'm going to count the harvestable ears per row. In other words, this row is going to have one figure, this row is going to have a figure, and we'll average them together to get the estimated harvestable ears per 1/1000th of an acre. All right, so I just got done counting. On this row, it was 28 ears in 17.5 feet. In this row, it was 26 ears in 17.5 feet. So that will give us an average of 27. Remember that number? We're going to need it later. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to walk up through here and I'm going to pull every 5th ear. Now, it doesn't really matter how many ears you pull to get a sample now, as long as you get an average. The more you pull, obviously, the better the average is going to be. You can pull every 10th ear, you can pull every 50th ear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. All right, I got my 6 ears I pulled on the tailgate here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to count the number of rows around the cob, and I'm going to count the length on each one. What I'm trying to do is get an average kernels per ear, and when I get that number, I can do some math. All right, let me show you on my math here. We got the kernel rows per ear right here. 16, 18, 18, 16, 14, 16. We got the number of kernels lengthwise per row. That's the total here. In other words, each ear had this many kernels on it. We add all those together, divide by 6. We get this as an average, 563 kernels per ear average. 563 kernels per ear times 27,000, which is our estimated ears, harvestable ears per acre. That equals 15,210,000. 15,210,000 kernels per acre divided by 100,000 kernels per bushel. Now this can be anywhere from 80 to 120,000. I use 100,000 as a normal division. That's always worked for me and got me pretty close. You do the math there, you come out with 152.1 bushels per acre. This NK1452 has done really good for us this year. That 152 bushels is pretty dang good when our county average is probably 110 bushels here. There's been some dry spots throughout the county. This spot right here at the home farm, it's been pretty good weather. So, you know, we're going to be tickled to take 152 bushels to the bin, and if that's what it is, and it might be a little better, might be a little worse. You never can really tell. You get in there with a combine, but I'm pretty happy with it.